The Dallas Cowboys thought adding George Pickens would make them unstoppable, but now Jerry Jones may have created a ticking time bomb that could shake the entire team before the season even begins.
It's like Thanos when we're talking about offseason drama with the Dallas Cowboys. And we knew that this was happening, right? The Cowboys are like the most one step forward, two step back team in all of football. And they've done some good things. You go get Christian Parker from the Philadelphia Eagles to be the defense coordinator. You acquire Rashawn Gary. The news says that you were trying to get Max Crosby as well. Javonte Williams is signed. You get the Kobe Durant at the corner position. But you knew this was going to happen with GP. You knew when you traded for him last year, this was going to happen. And guess what else you did, Dallas Cowboys? Guess what else you did, Jerry Jones? You said last year that the same agent that George Pickens has don't need to be talked to about Micah Parsons, even though now you got to talk to him about George Pickens. And George Pickens is not going to show up. George Pickens is not going to play. He's not going to practice until he gets the deal he has earned. And I repeat it over and over again. David Mulligetta, his agent, always says, I ain't taking $9 on 10, and most times I want 11.
Here's the thing that's interesting, and I'm glad RC brought it. I don't disagree with anything you said, RC, but here's the deal. First of all, just to remind people, you're talking about George Pickens. You're talking about a guy that led the Cowboys in targets, receptions, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. He's absolutely balled. And the $27.3 million tag that was placed on him so he doesn't go anywhere, we know he's worth more than that because he's proven that. So let's get that out the way right now. Where the conversation becomes very interesting, RC, however, is that the deal that he wants, the deal that he deserves. I'll lean on you for that in this regard. We just saw what, Jigba got, what he got. We just saw that, right? That's over $40 million, bro. Now, we're not going to sit up here and say definitively that George Pickens deserves more than CeeDee Lamb, who's at 36, are we? We're not going to say that.
Yes.
Because, see, that's where that's where it gets very, very interesting. Because if you the Dallas Cowboys, if they came to Pickens, first of all, he deserves a long-term deal. And secondly, you know what? I wouldn't go on the damn football field on a one-year deal when one play can end it. Hell with all of that. The guaranteed dollars that's out there for him, he's got to hold it. Absolutely.
George Pickens is going to want to be one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. And he's going to feel that his production with the Dallas Cowboys last year with Dak Prescott gives him that opportunity, gives him that right, that he deserves what he's earned. And so I don't believe that what CeeDee Lamb has is going to affect what George Pickens asked for. And it's like we always say, what he eat don't make me poop. How big his house is ain't got nothing to do with how big my house can be. This is going to be negotiated on George Pickens' terms, and that's why I think this could be a difficult negotiation for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, hold on. Like, what if George Pickens?
Well, they're going to negotiate.
What if George Pickens actually shows up to off-season workouts, and then this is a non-factor?
Let me tell you something right now. You don't want to be Shay. I mean, this is the business side right here. You know, when it's guaranteed dollars out there in 9 figures, but they talking to you about 8 figures, you ain't showing. You want to make sure that you, and we brought up the dollars. We didn't even bring up the years, okay? Because you want to make sure you got a certain number of dollars guaranteed to you for years to come. George Pickens is not jeopardizing that, and that's the position that the Cowboys have put themselves in. So once again, with all of these moves that they've made to improve their squad, they also messed up because of this situation right here, because you're fomenting dissension and acrimony, not amongst the players themselves. I'm just talking about, once again, a negotiation issue with one of the players. And this is in the aftermath of quarterback Dak Prescott speaking up for a change when he spoke up months ago about how he wants George Pickens back. You know, we need to get that done.
And also, too,
this is what it is. Dallas getting in their own way.
If you've been pay attention to social media, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are extremely close. They're tight. Dak Prescott and George Pickens have a great relationship. And so from the locker room standpoint, there are going to be many people voicing their opinion that George Pickens does belong on this team, that George Pickens is wanted on this team. And you can't have the same situation if you're the Dallas Cowboys ownership that you had last year with Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
You can't have that sort of dissension. You can't have that sort of tension. And you're dealing with the exact same people.
Yeah.
And many people saw felt that negotiation wasn't handled professionally by the Dallas Cowboys and the Jones family.
Well,
you can't go back down that road.
It definitely wasn't handled professionally, not at all. Jerry Jones refusing to talk to Mulugeta was inexcusable. I told him that to his face. He knows that. But here's the thing, RC. In a roundabout way, you're sounding like you're saying what I think is the case. And this is throwing no shade at Micah Parsons whatsoever. But you actually feel, it almost feels like there's more people, Shay and RC, in the Dallas Cowboys locker room clamoring for George Pickens to remain a Cowboy, more so than they were even clamoring for Micah Parsons to remain a Dallas Cowboy.
But they're on different
It almost
sides of the
feels
ball.
like that.
Well,
It's not like
definitely-
Micah can train with Dak. I mean,
Yeah, but it's definitely been a different feeling about George Pickens, which I believe George Pickens needed with some of the narrative that he had upon leaving
coming from Pittsburgh.
Right, that was important. But the other piece of it is this too. Remember Micah Parsons' willingness to work with the team. Micah Parsons would show up. Even if he wouldn't practice, Micah Parsons was at the building. Micah Parsons was in training camp. It felt like Micah Parsons was doing everything on his side to remain the Dallas Cowboys for the foreseeable future. If you're George Pickens, you were there for that. Right? So you're going to know that behavior doesn't necessarily guarantee me that I'll be negotiated with fairly. And so it will be interesting to see how they handle things going forward based on past history.
this drama is just beginning.
I don't have anything out of the ordinary to comment about regarding him, franchise tag. All of that is normal to me.
Has there been any negotiations at all, or
The
franchise tag?
I think you would refer to contact with agent, and we haven't.
Do you anticipate
Haven't been. I mean, we have contact with the agent, but we haven't been.
Do you anticipate trying to get something done before the July 15th deadline?
I don't know. The franchise tag has an automatic time frame on it, and all of us will, and it's my plan and our thought that we'll all be working within the time frame of the conditions of the franchise tag. So it should play itself out, is the best way for me to say it. Make no mistake about it, we have long-term plans in mind for Pickens.
Are you getting closer with Aubrey?
I would say that I'm satisfied, short of where we are with him signing the tender offer. I'm satisfied where we are there.
Getting back to Pickens just for a second, even if he does sign the franchise tag, David's clients have never really played under the tag. Do you anticipate him participating in camp, or have you even looked that far ahead and looked at the history of that?
Yeah, all of us play under the rules of the collective bargaining agreement, and the collective bargaining agreement clearly anticipates the franchise tag, and that's part of what you sign up for in the NFL when you're playing in the NFL, or you're. So we want to get better there with personnel. We've been trying very much to make some trades. They haven't worked out for us there, but that won't deter us from getting better there.
Why is the trade market being do you anticipate the trade market being the most likely scenario for linebacker?
Do that again.
Do you anticipate the trade market being the most likely scenario to address linebacker?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to anticipate here.
Would you be comfortable with a rookie at your green dot middle linebacker if you didn't get it in the trade market?
Yes. Yes. A big yes.
What makes you feel optimistic about what you guys have done in the offseason, that you guys will be a better team than you were last year?
We've addressed our defense significantly. Going in, I thought that if we can pick that up, sustain the level that we played at on offense last year, always looking to improve, specifically with the depth of our roster, special teams, the fact that we have no reason to think we can't be as good as we were last year on special teams. with all of that in mind, then when you are almost dead last, you can anticipate some improvement, and got pretty good odds you'll get some.
Has there been talks about packaging those picks and moving them around to maybe acquire more capital or get a better player higher?
I've looked at that mirror a lot about how to go up and down and trade and do those kinds of things, and absolutely will entertain improving or an in-draft read on what gives us a better chance to get another player and still have our pick in the red meat of top players. Now that has a on the board aspect to it, but it's very doable. And yes, you should, when you've got the kind of assets or the kind of ammunition we've got in this draft, you should look at all machinations. It's one thing to sit here right now. It's another thing to sit and look at it 3 hours into the draft and see what you've got there. And so all of that is a possibility. We've had our best work. We had 4 and 5 times the draft capital back in the early years that I was involved in NFL of an average team. And we missed on some trades, but we nailed a few. The main thing is, because we had that much capital, we were probably cutting and shooting more at that particular time. And we certainly had some success during that time. Probably nothing affects in the draft, this is an obvious statement, but nothing, no amount of skill, no amount of knowledge can beat having a lot of draft capital, having a lot of picks. That'll win most of the time.
You also talked about busting the budget. I know you've improved the team because you couldn't help but improve the team. Have you done enough? Do you feel you've done enough? Have you been aggressive? Have you busted the budget? Can you speak to those things? We've
been aggressive, and we have, relatively speaking, we've stepped up the financial requirements for what we have done. We may have exceeded, busted, whatever you want to call it, but we got some more, and so we're not through.
You got some more to do.
Jerry, you look at the linebackers you pursued, and you weren't able to ultimately land in free agency. They signed with the Raiders and the Panthers. Does the Cowboys still carry the lore in your mind to get guys? Does the star matter to them as much now, or do you think it's just the cash? What players get cash back?
Well, I don't think we've lost any luster. Which was your question. No, I don't think that is the case. I do think that there are a lot of nuances that can influence players' movement. A lot of them is they go where they're comfortable with the coaching staff that have created a situation there. You're competing against. We've gotten a player or two because we have the coach that the player wanted to be coached by, frankly. So those are things that can also influence that player. But we thought we were close on at least 2 situations. Matter of fact, I probably left wherever I was thinking we had something. But that's the way this thing goes, and that's no problem. I love it.
What has been different about this year since the urgency? How has it manifested differently? How does it look differently for you?
Oh, I think we've made a tangible, not how it looks. We've made a tangible restructuring of our defense. And we not only have done it with the direct coaching, we're going to have done it with the direct participants, the players, and we're going to have done it with the schemes. And so I think it does address. I don't look at what we need to be addressing and getting better at as just a last year issue. I think it's one that some of the things have been lingering around in our defense for several years. Every defense has its holes. There's no such thing. But some of the areas that have really been accentuated over the last year, we've addressed some of them. Strong run game, inside. We've addressed some of them. But those are real departures from where we've been over the last 15, 20 years.
You look at some states that have added a millionaire's tax and may add it. How much of an advantage in your mind is it to be in a state where there is no state income tax in terms of luring players and keeping players?
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at the makeup of what football is right around Texas, I have always thought that was a real advantage to be Dallas with the great talent supply there is in the amateur sport in football around Texas. Number one. Number two, I think it's an advantage for anybody, whether it's football or not. I would say to anybody, any place, boy, look at as a young, the equivalent of a player's age, look at Texas. That's a great future in my mind, as much as any place in the world. I would say look at Texas. Apart from the Cowboys, one of the things that I feel the most thankful for is the fact that Cowboys brought me to Texas. And I've spent these years down in Texas, and I've gotten to go with what makes Texas go. And it's an outstanding opportunity. The tax thing, we have since the beginning of time pointed out that you can take the same equivalent salary in Texas and go home with more money than you can many other states. And that's big. And yes, and don't think I haven't worn that advantage out in talking with agents and players.
They're going to put you on the state website for that statement.
Yeah.
Jerry, why was this the time to transition from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4, even if you'll have other packages? And what does it take to successfully make that transition?
We've made a conscious decision to be a blend of the equivalent of the 3-4. It won't be a pure 3-4. And that is, you can say that's with the times too. There's got to be flexibility. But it's not new to me from Bill Parcells to just throughout my time in sport and even going back in college. The 3-4 concept can give you a better run, support. And the question is, can that outside guy do a little pass covering, cover a little space, plus give you the pressure on the outside? That's always been the big.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.